Hello everyone, this is Watson. In this video we're going to talk about the standard for our PoE devices. There's PoE, PoE Plus, and PoE++. And there is also a different kind of PoE standard, which is the non-PoE devices. The non-PoE standard is also known as the passive PoE. So what is a PoE standard? The PoE standard is the protocol it follows for providing us power. So PoE is the technology that transmits power and data through an Ethernet cable. When we first developed PoE, it was PoE, which is also known as the IE802.3 AF protocol. This protocol usually provides the power output at 12 or 13 watts. At this power, it was only enough to power up basic IP devices, small sized IP devices, and since the technology developed and the quality of our Ethernet cable has upgraded to pure copper wires, in that case we had the IE802.3 AT protocol, which is also known as PoE Plus. And PoE Plus will transmit the same as a PoE device, although because of the quality of the Ethernet cables have been better, so they can transmit up to 26 watts of power at the PoE device. So you can see that these two first standards, AF and AT, can only provide less than 30 watts of power. It is not really enough for our modern day IP devices. So then when people developed using more of it, we used PoE++, which is also known as PoE that complies with the IEEE802.3 BT protocol. This protocol is a little bit different. As you can see, this is the inside of an Ethernet cable. There are a total of 8 little wires, and usually they are twisted. So we have a total of 4 pairs of twisted wire. AT and AF, they only occupy 2 of the twisted wires. But when it comes to BT protocol, which is PoE++, all 4 pairs of twisted wires are occupied. So in this case, you can imagine that the Ethernet cable is transmitting power at full capacity. This is why PoE++ devices can provide up to 60 watts, even 90 watts of power. They can generate that much power and transmit it to our IP devices, and usually our IP devices will have a reminder of 70 watts at the end. So this is the 3 common standards for our PoE devices. Now let's talk about something else. This is called the Power Handshake. In a PoE system, we have a power sourcing equipment, usually it's a PoE switch, and then we have our power device, which is an IP device. These two are what makes a PoE system. You can think of one as the provider and one as the receiver. So these two have to make a connection. And when they make a connection, the PoE signal, original place, which is our PoE switch, will generate a signal transmitted to our IP device first. It is called the Power Handshake. It will detect if our PoE IP device is PoE enabled. If it is, it will send the power there because these two have made an agreement. They can connect to each other. It's safe. If not, it will only transmit data then because it does not have the PoE enabled, so it will not respond to its Power Handshake. How does it know if it has Power Handshake or not? Well, the most important thing is it has to be PoE enabled. And PoE only provides power to those devices which has a working voltage in the range of 33 volts up to 55 volts. If it's in that range, then okay, it's PoE enabled, they have a Power Handshake. If not, they cannot connect to provide power, they will only provide data for it. If our IP device is not within the range, we will need something which is called a PoE Injector or a PoE splitter. A PoE Injector will inject power for our IP device. It can be a PoE injector or a non-PoE injector. It just matters if the voltage of our injector will match the voltage of our IP device. If they match, of course it will provide power to it. And the injector works as receiving data from our network, adding power to it, and transmitting PoE signals. The second way is using a PoE splitter. A PoE splitter is a device that will receive a PoE signal and split it into a separate power and data cable. So that way we can provide power and data separately to our IP device at the end. So it doesn't really matter if it's PoE enabled. Now let's take a look at a PoE injector and a PoE splitter. This small device is a PoE injector. So we have to check when we use this if the voltage matches our IP device. If it does, then it can provide power to it. And this is a PoE injector. You can see it has a separate power cord, and we also have ports for our Ethernet cable. This will provide the data separately, and at the end there will be a cord for power and a cord for data. So that is how it works. Okay, that's pretty much it for this video. If you guys have any more questions about the PoE, you can leave them at the section below. Thank you guys for watching today, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.